The Christmas that changed everything. My name is Margaret, and I'm 62 years old. What I'm about to share with you happened last Christmas, but the lessons from that morning have stayed with me every single day since. It was Christmas Eve when my younger sister Claire pulled into our mother's driveway in a brand new Lexus LX. The kind that costs more than most people's homes. $117,000 to be exact. It gleamed under the porch lights like a jewel, wrapped with an enormous gold bow that must have cost a small fortune by itself. I had arrived earlier that afternoon in my 12-year-old Honda Civic. It runs fine, gets me where I need to go. But sitting next to Claire's gift, it looked like something from another lifetime. Our mother, Dorothy, came rushing out of the house, her hands clasped together in delight. At 78, she still moved with surprising energy when excitement took hold of her. "Claire, darling, you're here!" she called out, embracing my sister before even glancing at the vehicle. But then she saw it. Her eyes went wide. "Is that yours?" Claire smiled, that practiced smile of hers, the one she'd perfected over years of climbing the corporate ladder. "Merry Christmas, Mom. From Richard and me. We wanted you to have something reliable, something worthy of you." I stood in the doorway, still holding the dish towel I'd been using to help with dinner preparations. Something worthy of her. The words hung in the cold December air. Our mother's hands went to her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. "Claire, I can't possibly accept this." "It's too much nonsense," Claire said, dangling the keys. "You've given us everything, let us give you this." I watched as they hugged, as our mother wiped her tears, as Claire guided her to sit in the driver's seat. The leather interior was cream-colored, pristine. I could see the heated seat controls, the navigation system, all the bells and whistles that promised comfort and luxury. That night, as we sat around the dinner table, the Lexus was all anyone could talk about. Claire's husband, Richard, a successful investment banker, explained the safety features in great detail. Their two teenagers barely looked up from their phones. My own daughter, Emma, 28, and visiting from Seattle, where she taught elementary school, squeezed my hand under the table. "You okay, Mom?" she whispered. I nodded, but truthfully, something was churning inside me. Not jealousy exactly, more like a quiet sadness I couldn't quite name. After dinner, I helped our mother with the dishes while Claire took an important call in the study. It had always been this way. Claire, busy with her career, her important life. Me, present for the everyday moments, the small tasks that needed doing. "The car is beautiful," I said, scrubbing a pot. "It is," our mother agreed. She was quiet for a moment, her hands still in the soapy water. "You know I love you both equally, Margaret." "I know, Mom. Your sister, she shows love differently. Big gestures, always has." I dried the pot slowly. "And I show it in small ways." "Not small," she corrected gently. "Consistent. You've been here, Margaret. Through your father's illness, through my surgery last year, through all the ordinary days that actually make up a life." We finished the dishes in comfortable silence, but her words didn't quite settle the feeling in my chest. Christmas morning arrived with fresh snow covering the ground. Emma and I had stayed in my old childhood bedroom, talking late into the night like we used to when she was younger. She told me about a boy she was seeing, a music teacher at her school. I told her about the community center where I'd been volunteering, teaching older adults how to use computers. We came downstairs to find our mother already awake, sitting by the Christmas tree with her coffee. The ornaments caught the morning light, the same decorations we'd had for decades. Some of them, Emma and I had made when she was in elementary school. Claire and her family emerged a bit later, everyone dressed in matching Christmas pajamas that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. But I pushed that thought away. This was Christmas, a time for family, for gratitude. We gathered around the tree. Our mother, as always, insisted on handing out gifts one at a time, watching each person open their present. It was a ritual from our childhood that she'd never abandoned. Claire's children opened their gifts first, the latest phones, designer clothes, gift cards to expensive stores. They smiled politely and went back to their devices. Then Emma opened hers from our mother, a beautiful hand-knitted scarf in her favorite color, teal, along with a leather-bound journal. Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Grandma, this is perfect. I've been wanting to start writing again. I remember you used to fill up journals when you were young," our mother said softly. "Beautiful stories about kindness and hope. Richard opened his gift next. A set of vintage cufflinks that had belonged to our father. His face showed genuine appreciation as he examined them. "These are wonderful, Dorothy, thank you." Claire opened hers. Inside the box was an antique brooch, emeralds and gold, that had belonged to our grandmother. Claire held it up to the light, admiring the craftsmanship. "It's stunning, Mom, I'll treasure it." Then it was my turn. Our mother handed me a small package, wrapped in simple brown paper with a red ribbon. I could tell by the weight and shape what it was before I even opened it. Inside was a mug, white ceramic with simple black lettering that read, "Be grateful." I stared at it for a long moment. $5 maybe. The kind of thing you'd find in a discount store clearance section. The room had gone quiet. I could feel everyone's eyes on me. "Thank you, Mom," I managed to say. My voice sounded strange to my own ears. "Margaret," our mother began, her voice gentle. "I wanted you to have something that would remind you every morning of what matters most." Claire laughed. It was a small sound, almost nervous. "A mug, Mom? Really? After giving me grandmother's brooch and the car yesterday?" "Claire," Richard said quietly, a warning in his tone. But Claire continued, her voice taking on an edge. "I mean, Margaret, I'm sorry, but a $5 mug? That's quite a difference from a Lexus, don't you think?" I looked down at the mug in my hands. "Be grateful." The irony wasn't lost on me. "It's fine," I said, "really." But it wasn't fine. And everyone in that room knew it. Emma put her arm around me. Our mother's face had gone pale. Claire seemed to realize she'd crossed a line, but the words were already out there, hanging in the air between us. I stood up carefully, still holding the mug. "I think I need some air," Margaret, our mother, called after me. But I was already walking toward the door, pulling on my coat over my pajamas, stepping out into the cold Christmas morning. The snow crunched under my slippers as I walked to the end of the driveway. The Lexus sat there, still with its gold bow, mocking me with its presence. I stood there for a long time, the mug cold in my hands, my breath making clouds in the freezing air. I thought about all the times I'd driven 3 hours to help our mother with doctor's appointments, all the nights I'd spent at her house after Dad died, just so she wouldn't be alone. The groceries I'd bought, the meals I'd cooked, the garden I'd helped her maintain, not because I expected anything in return, but because that's what you do for the people you love. And Claire got a Lexus. I got a mug. Behind me, I heard the front door open, footsteps in the snow. I didn't turn around. "I'm sorry," it was Claire's voice. "That was thoughtless of me. Was it though?" I asked quietly. Or was it just the truth finally being said out loud? She came to stand beside me. We looked at the car together. "You think I don't notice," I said. "You think I don't see how Mom lights up when you walk in the room, how proud she is of your success, your big house, your important job, and I'm just Margaret, still in the same town where we grew up, still living in a modest house, still working my modest job at the library. Margaret, I'm not jealous of your success, Claire. I'm really not. You worked hard for what you have, but sometimes I wonder if the things I do, the ways I show up, if any of it even matters." Claire was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was thick with emotion. "Do you know why Richard and I bought that car?" I didn't answer. "Because we feel guilty," she said. "Every single day, we feel guilty that you're the one who's here, who helps, who shows up. We live 4 hours away and we tell ourselves it's because of work, because of the kids' schools, because of a million reasons. But the truth is, it's easier. Easier to send money, to buy expensive gifts, to make grand gestures than to do what you do." I turned to look at her. There were tears on her cheeks. "I can't tell you the number of times Mom has called me," Claire continued, "to tell me about something you did. How you fixed her computer, how you brought her soup when she had a cold, how you just sat with her and watched old movies. And every time I feel like I'm failing, so I try to make up for it with things. With money, with gifts that cost more than they should. The car. The car is guilt. Wrapped in leather and steel," Claire said firmly. "It's me trying to prove I'm a good daughter, when deep down I know I'm not showing up the way you do." We stood there together, two sisters in the snow, the truth finally laid bare between us. "I don't need a Lexus," I said softly. "I never wanted one. I know. But that mug, Claire, that $5 mug, It felt like proof that nothing I do matters. That I'm just the boring daughter who never left, never achieved anything remarkable. Claire took my hand. Can I tell you something? Last year, when Mom had her surgery, she was terrified. You know how she is, always putting on a brave face. But she called me the night before, and she was scared. And do you know what she said to me? I shook my head. She said, "It'll be okay because Margaret will be there. Margaret is always there." Not in a resentful way, Margaret, in a grateful way. Like you were her anchor, her constant. She wasn't worried because she knew you'd be beside her. Then why the mug, I asked. Why give me something so thoughtless when you gave you an heirloom brooch? I don't know, Claire admitted. Maybe we should ask her. We walked back to the house together. Inside, we found our mother sitting alone by the tree, crying quietly. Emma and Richard had taken the teenagers into the kitchen, giving her space. Mom, I said, sitting down beside her. I need to understand. She looked up at me, her face wet with tears. At 78, she suddenly looked every year of her age. I've made a terrible mistake, she said. I was trying to teach a lesson and I hurt you instead. What lesson? Claire asked, sitting on her other side. Our mother took a shaky breath. Your father and I, we didn't have much when you girls were young. You remember, we counted every penny, made every dollar stretch, but we were happy. We had each other, we had our little family. Lee, and that was enough. She looked down at her hands. Over the years, I've watched you both grow into such different women. Claire, you chased success, and you found it. I'm so proud of what you've built. But Margaret, you chased something different. You chased presence, connection. You chose to build a life where people mattered more than things. But the mug, I said. Mom, it's a $5 mug. I know, she said. And that brooch is worth thousands. The car is worth over 100,000. And that's exactly the point I was trying to make, though I did it so poorly. She took the mug from my hands, turning it over. Be grateful, she read. Margaret, every morning for the last year, since your father passed, you've called me, every single morning. Not because you had to, but because you wanted to check on me. You've taught me that the most valuable things in life can't be bought or wrapped or driven. Tears were running down my face now. I wanted Claire to see that, our mother continued. I wanted everyone to see that real wealth isn't measured in dollars or luxury cars. It's measured in presence, in showing up, in small, consistent acts of love. You've been wealthy in the ways that truly matter, Margaret, and I wanted to honor that. By giving me a cheap mug? I asked, my voice breaking. By giving you something simple that represented a profound truth, she said. But I see now how it looked, how hurtful it must have been, especially next to that car. I wanted to make a statement about values, but instead I just made you feel devalued. She set the mug down and took both my hands in hers. You are the greatest gift I have ever received, she said. You and your sister both, in your own ways. But Margaret, your presence in my life, your constant steady love, it's beyond price. I'm sorry I made you doubt that, even for a moment. I was crying fully now. And so was our mother. And when I looked over, Claire was crying too. I don't know how to make this right, our mother said. You just did, I told her. We sat there together, 3 generations of women, learning that sometimes the most expensive gift is the one that costs the most to give. The gift of time and presence and showing up even when it's inconvenient. Emma came in from the kitchen, assessed the situation, and joined our hug. Then Richard brought in the teenagers, and we all sat together by the tree, holding each other, understanding that this moment, this connection, was the real gift. Later that afternoon, after we'd eaten Christmas dinner and the tension had eased into something gentler, Claire pulled me aside. I want to change things, she said. Richard and I have been talking. We can work remotely more. We can visit more often. We can be present more. Claire, you don't have to. Yes, I do, she interrupted. Not because of guilt, but because I want to. Because watching you, seeing how much joy and meaning you get from these relationships, from being present, I realize I've been missing out. We've been so focused on accumulating that we forgot to participate. She took a breath. And we want to return the Lexus. What? No, Claire, Mom loves it. Does she? Or does she love what it represents, the idea that her daughter was thinking of her? Because I can think of her in other ways. Better ways. Our mother appeared in the doorway. I heard my name, Claire turned to her. Mom, I'd like to return the car, and instead, Richard and I would like to commit to visiting you once a month. We'll drive up, spend the weekend, help with whatever you need, and just be here. With you. Really here? Our mother's eyes filled with fresh tears. Claire, you don't have to return such an extravagant gift, but I want to, Claire said, because Margaret was right. The car was guilt, and I don't want to give you guilt anymore. I want to give you what she's been giving you all along, my time, my presence, me. Our mother looked between us, her two daughters, and nodded slowly. I would like that very much, she said, that evening, as Emma and I prepared to drive back home. I tucked the mug carefully into my bag. Our mother saw me and smiled. You're keeping it? Of course I am, I said. It's perfect. And it was. Because now it meant something different. Now it was a reminder not just to be grateful, but that I was valued, that my way of showing love mattered. That presence was indeed the greatest present. As we pulled out of the driveway in my old Honda Civic, I saw the Lexus with its gold bow, still sitting there, waiting to be returned. And I smiled. You know what, Emma? I said. I got exactly what I needed for Christmas. A mug? She asked with a grin. No, I said, understanding. Over the next few months, things changed in our family. Claire and Richard kept their promise, visiting once a month without fail. At first it was awkward. They didn't know what to do with unstructured time, how to just be present without an agenda. But slowly they learned. Claire learned to sit with our mother and just talk, no phone in hand. Richard learned to fix things around the house, taking satisfaction in small repairs rather than writing checks. The teenagers, initially resistant, began to form real relationships with their grandmother, hearing stories about family history, learning about the people they came from. And I learned something too. I learned that my way of loving wasn't the only way, and that Claire's evolution, her willingness to change and grow, was its own kind of gift. One Saturday in March, I arrived at our mother's house for our weekly visit to find Claire's car already there. It was a Saturday, not their regular week. And I felt a flutter of worry that something was wrong, but when I walked in, I found them in the kitchen. Claire teaching our mother how to make her famous lemon cake, the one Richard loved. They were laughing, flour on their hands, the radio playing softly in the background. Margaret, our mother called out, perfect timing. We need a taste tester. I joined them, and for the next hour we baked and talked and laughed together. It was such an ordinary moment, the kind I'd had with our mother countless times before. But seeing Claire there, really there, not checking her phone or watching the clock, it felt extraordinary. I needed this, Claire said quietly to me while our mother was icing the cake. I didn't know how much I needed this until I started showing up. All those years of working late, of missing family dinners, of putting my career first, I told myself it was necessary. But really, I was just scared. Scared of what? I asked. Of being ordinary, she admitted. Of being just a daughter, just a sister, just a person. Not an executive or a success story, just Claire. But being here, doing these simple things, I'm learning that ordinary is actually extraordinary. That this is what matters. I squeezed her hand. That night, the three of us sat on the back porch, wrapped in blankets against the cool spring air, watching the stars come out. Our mother was in the middle, holding both our hands. I'm proud of you both, she said. Not for what you've achieved or accumulated, but for who you've become. For your capacity to love, to grow, to show up for each other. We learned from the best, Claire said. And from each other, I added. Our mother squeezed our hands. You know, that Christmas morning when everything fell apart, I thought I'd ruined the holiday. But looking back, I think it might have been the best gift I ever gave you both. The gift of tea. Ruth, of confrontation, of a chance to really see each other. She was right. That Christmas, with its Lexus and its $5 mug, had cracked something open in our family. It had exposed the fault lines, yes, but it had also shown us how to bridge them. I think about that morning often now, not with pain or resentment, but with gratitude, because it taught me that my way of loving, small and consistent and present, had value. It taught Claire that showing up mattered more than gift-giving. It taught our mother that even our mistakes can become moments of grace if we're willing to learn from them. The mug sits on my desk now, at the library where I work. I use it every day for my afternoon tea. People sometimes ask about it, about the simple message, be grateful. And I tell them a shorter version of this story. I tell them about the Christmas when my sister got a Lexus and I got a mug, and how that mug became more valuable to me than any car could ever be. Because that mug reminds me every day that the best things in life aren't things at all. They're moments, connections, presents, the gift of showing up day after day for the people we love. That's wealth. That's success. That's what matters. And for that lesson, I'll always be grateful. Our mother is still with us, still living in the house where we grew up. The Lexus was returned, and instead, Claire and Richard set up a fund for family experiences, trips we can all take together, memories we can build. But mostly, they just visit. They show up. They're present. Emma got engaged to that music teacher, and we're planning the wedding for next fall. It'll be in our mother's backyard, simple and beautiful, surrounded by the people who matter most. Life goes on, as it always does. But it goes on differently now, richer in the ways that count, fuller with presence and connection and love that shows up not just, holidays, but on ordinary Tuesdays, on rainy Saturdays, on all the unremarkable days that actually make up a life. And every morning, when I pour my tea into that $5 mug, I smile. Because I know something most people spend a lifetime learning. I know that being grateful isn't about what you have. It's about who you are, who you show up for, and how you love. And in that way, I'm the wealthiest person I know. Thank you for listening to my story. If it touched your heart or reminded you of what truly matters, I'd be grateful if you'd share it with someone who needs to hear it. Please like this story, subscribe for more tales of kindness and connection, and leave a comment sharing your own experiences with family, presents, and the things that really matter. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today.